My name is Jeffrey DeMarco. I'm a chartered forensic psychologist and a senior technical advisor for Save the Children UK in protecting children from digital harms. My starting point is actually a simple one, and it's the harms that children face online are very real. They're serious and they do deserve urgent action. We know that children and young people can encounter a range of risks and harms online, from cyberbullying, sexual exploitation risks, harmful or distressing content, body image pressures, manipulative design features, but also intense social pressures in digital spaces. So for me, the question is not whether there is a problem. We can agree that there is. The real question we need to ask ourselves is whether a ban on social media for minors is the right solution. And our view is that in most cases, a ban is not the plan. It may sound decisive, but it risks being a blunt response to a much more complex problem. First, I worry that bans can create an illusion of protection. If we remove children from mainstream platforms on paper, we may make adults feel assured, but that does not necessarily mean children are safer in practice. Risks do not disappear simply because access is restricted. They can shift into less regulated spaces or even private channels. They might make secondary accounts, or they may migrate to platforms with fewer protections and less oversight. In that sense, a ban can sometimes relocate harms rather than reduce them. Second, I think we need to be honest that the evidence does not clearly support blanket bans as the most effective route to better mental health or safety outcomes. The research base is nuanced. Some children are harmed, some are unaffected, and some benefit from connection, from identity exploration, access to information, creativity, and wider social and emotional support. The effects are not uniform. Children are not a homogeneous group. That matters because blunt bans treat all children, all platforms, and all of online engagement as though they are the same thing. They are not. Third, there are real concerns about rights, about children's privacy, and about child participation in a meaningful way. Children are not only vulnerable users, they are rights holders. They deserve protection, yes, but they also deserve access to information, to opportunities for those connections, spaces for participation, and a meaningful say in the policies that shape their digital lives. If our answer to platform failure is simply to exclude those children, we risk sidelining their voices and reducing a child rights issue to a control issue. Fourth, I'm really concerned that age gating can become a surveillance trap. To enforce bans at scale, we usually need stronger age assurance or age verification systems. That can mean collecting more data, using intrusive checks, but also relying on systems that might very much be inaccurate, biased, they might be exclusionary. So we end up asking children and families to bear the burden of privacy of a problem that is largely being created by weak platform design and weak enforcement. And that brings me, I guess, to our organization's most important view. Why are we punishing children for the misbehavior of platforms? If the real drivers of harm are things like recommender systems, compulsive design features, poor to weak moderation, difficult to access safety, poor defaults, and business models that actually reward engagement over children's well-being, then the policy response should target those things directly. The burden should sit first with companies and regulators, not primarily with children and families. So what should we prioritize instead? Well, first, we need much stronger safety by design and rights by design regulation. So that means safer default settings for children, limits on the harmful recommendation pathways, stronger protections against stranger contact risks, and harmful content exposure, and real accountability when platform fails. And when platforms fail, that means real, strong enforcement. We also need to focus on the specific mechanisms of harm, not just access in the abstract. So tackle bullying, grooming risks, compulsive design, exploitative algorithms, but equally age inappropriate features directly. We want an age appropriate experience for children. In the wider ecosystem, along with these things, we absolutely need proper investment in digital literacy, resilience, and support. But this is not a substitute for regulation. This has to happen alongside it. Children need the skills, the support, but equally some trusted relationships to help them navigate digital lives safely. This means upskilling and empowering parents, carers, teachers, but also the wider array of frontline professionals that might be working with children. Last point, crucially, we need to listen to children themselves. What I see occurring across the ecosystem at the moment is a concept that I've called institutional ageism, where adults, professionals, practitioners, with the best intentions are making decisions for children without meaningfully engaging with them, discussing with them, co-producing with them, allowing them to participate. Too often, these debates are about children, but actually not with them. If we want policies that are credible and proportionate, but also reasonable and effective, we need to hear children's views, their hopes, their aspirations, their fears. Co-production matters, and children can tell us what the risks really are and what safety feels like in practice and where we might be getting it wrong. So quite simply, our position is not that we should accept unsafe digital environments. It's actually quite the opposite. We should be far more ambitious. But a blanket social media ban is, in my view, too blunt and too easy to circumvent. And it's very likely to distract from the deeper reforms that are actually needed. Children need safer digital spaces, not just simply being excluded from those digital spaces.